So we're just waiting for one more artist. In the meantime, so my name's Peter Birdie. I will be your native guide tonight. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask us at the ticket booth or one of our main captains. And please keep an eye out for our photographers this evening. They'll be capturing this and uploading the images so that you can vote and bid on them on our phone app. And we'll do it in progression so you can see how it, so the people at home watching the stream can see it kind of happening in a very stop-and-go way. Can we get a big round of applause for tonight's DJ Ottawa, please? Because today what we like to do is something we call the slow tornado. So basically, we're going to keep walking around in a circle, or the world's friendliest mosh pit, as I like to call it. And that way everybody gets to see what each artist is doing. So if
I need you
walk around in this
more than anyone, darling, and all that I had from the start. Build me up, but don't break my heart.
If you want to take photos, you can wait till the end of the round, or in the auction room next door, they'll be on display. You'll be able to take your pictures there.
I support this artist's choice to wear a very sparkly celebratory hair pattern.
Are you ready, Ottawa?
She's looking good. Hair battle Ottawa. Why do you build me up and make babies mess me around, most of all, never call me when you say I love you still, I need you more than anyone.
Simon, are we sending to YouTube right now? Simon, are we sending?
Number 2, Kashish Sharma! On easel number 3, Alberto Descendi. On easel number 4, Aaron Bazo. On easel number 5, Patricia Lalu. Pretty sure I said your name wrong again, right? It's Lalo. Never mind, we'll get it next time. Sorry about that. I've known her for years. We used to work together. I don't know. I'm so nervous. I'm humming and awing more than a Trudeau speech. Like, okay. And last, and certainly not least, Natalie Mears. All right, here we go with round number 1. 20 minutes on the clock. From 10, 9,
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
let's take it! All right, let's try to get that tornado going. We're going to start this way.
We are here in Art Battle, Ottawa. We have just begun round number 1, and we have 6 incredible artists up at the easels right now. And they have just 20 minutes to create a piece from start to finish in front of a live audience. Right now, we are 2 minutes into the first round, and we are checking out at easel number 1, Maureen McAuliffe. And Maureen is well known for doing really expressive, vibrant works. And we can see that she's got quite a lot of turquoise going on already. Here we are with Kashish Sharma. And this is Kashish's first art battle ever. So very excited to welcome her to the easel. Lots of paint going down here. Quite a lot of white thrown down there already. I think that maybe Kashish is going to be going for a wet on wet approach. And here we are checking out Alberto. And Alberto has quite a lot of color going on the canvas right now, and is kind of going for his signature aesthetic, which is very, very colorful, a little bit chaotic, and featuring a lot of attitude. And we can see that Alberto is going in there with his hands, really getting into the paint, and we can see all these gestural movements. He's very into it. So exciting to see artists get so physical with their work. I think that that's a special part of Art Battle that we're able to see. Here we are with Erin Bessau, and Erin has painted in Art Battle before, and I just absolutely love her style. It's very realist meets minimalist. And I'm totally here for it. And she is also an artist that paints in blue pretty exclusively. And if anyone out there listening knows me, they know that that is my color palette as well. So she's an artist after my own heart. We can definitely see that there's kind of a fantastic element for Natalie there going on, with the color hues that are kind of blended into the sky. And back with Maureen, and Maureen has this fuchsia striking color palette going down and blending through into the blues that are in this kind of abstracted face that she's got going on. A lot of texture in this work, a lot of paint on the canvas already. I'm wondering if Maureen might potentially be worried about some of those colors getting a little bit muddy, or if her intention is to go heavy on the paint and heavy on the layering. Her studio work is very layered, so I think that that's the approach that we're going to be seeing. And back with Kashish here, and oh, I love when our camera person catches a great tape pull. So this, I think, my theory on this piece is that it's going to end up being a grove of birch trees. That's just what my heart is telling me at this point. And I think that that is such a fantastic technique that Kashish has used. She's painted the whole background, set the whole scene of the foreground even, with all of these beautiful sunset colors, and had laid down tape prior to maintain the white of the canvas underneath the tape, and has pulled that away. I think that's just such a stunning approach. Back with Alberto here, and we're getting really into the realm of performance work here. Very, very physical interaction with this canvas from Alberto, and they really are very engaged with, I think, the tactile component of how the paint is being applied to the canvas. And I think that that is going to be something that the audience becomes really interested in. I mean, even just as you're watching Alberto working, you can get this sensation of the paint underneath the fingers, just almost that kind of your mirror neurons firing, that secondhand painting, if you will. Back with Erin and this gorgeous bluebird. It's always interesting to me seeing how artists approach feathers, because there's such a unique texture, and we can see that Erin is no stranger to painting birds. This is really well rendered and just gorgeous already off the bat, only 8 minutes in. But looks like Erin has laid down her darker darks and is weaving in the highlights on top. And then at the point where the light meets the dark, she's blending that mid-tone right on the canvas. That, to me, kind of communicates that I think that Erin in her studio is an oil painter, because I think that that's often how oil paint behaves. And I have to say that I think Erin might end up finishing this piece quite early, because she's known for keeping it pretty minimal in her backgrounds as well. So we'll have to see what she does with our remaining 11 minutes. Really interesting use of perspective here from Patricia. We almost, as the viewer, it's like we're laying down in a forest staring up at this twilight sky, and it really brings us into the painting. It really includes us as viewers by providing us with this unique perspective here. It's a great take on a more classic painting and really brings it into its own kind of twist, and I appreciate that a lot. Back with Natalie here, and we can see that Natalie is just fluffing out those clouds, establishing the sense of highlight underneath, which I think would be probably a sunrise or a sunset, the way that the light is just bouncing off of only the bottom of the clouds there. Really mature way of painting. And we can see in her reference there that we've got a horse in the foreground. Now, horse is a very anatomically complicated creature to execute. So with 10 minutes left on the clock, we will have to see how Natalie incorporates that into her composition, because I think that the sky is executed and she's ready to move on soon, but she's got to get to that horse as soon as possible so that we can make sure that our proportions are correct there. Back over with Maureen now. And Maureen is also going in with the hands for her painting, getting into this this tactile painting zone. I'm so here for it. And we can see that she luckily has avoided any muddiness of colors. There's still a huge amount of vibrancy here. And we can also see that Maureen is having a lot of fun too. She's got her celebratory art battle dress on and is looking awesome, and is painting a piece that is just as celebratory and vibrant as she is here tonight. With 9 minutes left on the clock, we are now more than halfway through the round. So if you are out there watching, we want you to go to artbattle.com/vote. That is where you will register to vote. And you will vote for your favorite artist. Only 2 artists, you can only vote for 1 artist, but the top 2 artists from each qualifying round will move forward into the final round. So we're going to have our 6 artists working right now. In a few minutes after this round, we'll have another 6 artists, another 6 blank canvases, and then the top 2 from each of those rounds will be moving into a final showdown with another 20 minutes on the clock, and 1 artist will emerge the winner. So back with Kashish here, and she has covered quite a lot of that negative space that she had maintained with the tape pull, but we're still having it peeking through, and it's definitely communicating that those are indeed birch trees, getting that kind of beautiful fall autumn scene. Back with Alberto here, really, again, just so into it. Lots of texture and lots of muddiness of the paint, but I think that there's intentionality there. I would say that this piece is very much based in performance and including the audience in the tactile experience of painting. And we can definitely get a sense of fun from this piece from Alberto, and definitely feel included in its creation as well. Although almost all of the canvas is entirely covered, we have a little bit of negative space at the bottom there. I'm wondering whether or not Alberto will go into that or not. Swinging back over to Erin. And quite the contrast looking at these 2 pieces. One is very textural and that kind of maximalist approach, and then we have this more minimalist, tight, realist approach from Erin here. And no disappointment. I think that Erin has done a great job already, and I think that she's nearing the home stretch. Really well time managed from Erin here. It also is really difficult to get a very super clean, crispy line like that. So kudos to Erin for getting this crisp of this kind of golden sun, almost like a Byzantine kind of saintly vibe. And I really enjoy the kind of collision of those styles of this animal painting and then this kind of almost like a religious iconography with the golden circle behind the bird's head. And I think that's a great color contrast as well with that sienna, just really warm, but it's not too bright. It's not competing with the blue. All of the works created tonight are also available for silent auction. If you are falling in love with any of these pieces, just as I am actually with Erin's piece, all of the works created tonight are available to be bid on at that same link that's on your screen right now. You don't need to be in the room. We will ship them to you. So even more going on here from Patricia. We've got some birds elements being introduced into the sky here. And now that initial bringing in of this dark blue around this light source is really making sense to me now, because that's how the night sky would encroach kind of on the sunset if you were laying on your back and watching it. Really enjoying this piece. I'm feeling very included in that environment. Moving over to Natalie now with that gorgeous, beautiful sky, and we can see that she's now tackled the horse. Good execution on the anatomy. We're definitely understanding that it's a horse. 4 minutes remaining for her to kind of hone this, and a good strategy. I think that it looks like she's seeking to execute this piece entirely in silhouette. Maintaining the horse in a silhouette. So I think that takes away some of the complicated factors of shading the fur and the musculature and such. But you never know. We have 3.5 minutes left on the clock, and Natalie is definitely a pro. Really looking fantastic, the way that she's just kind of honing in on this, minor refinements, and painting that small when you're in this live painting arena and when you're on the clock can be pretty complicated. So kudos to Natalie for doing that. Back with Maureen here, and she's now in with a knife and is wiping the knife on her hand, and she has a fistful of acrylic paint. I love it. I'm here for it. And I gotta say, I appreciate it. This we're having a lot of performance type work in this round, and I love seeing that. I think the audience is going to be responding to that really well as well. If you are enjoying any one of these artists' performances in particular, we would love to hear from you. Give us a shout out on the comments and let us know who you're loving. But also, decision time will be coming down very, very shortly. And you will have to pick which artist you think is your favorite. And as we're talking about performance, not only do I want you to think about aesthetically which piece you think is the best, but also who did you enjoy watching create the most? Because that artist could move on to the final and you would have the opportunity to see them paint again. So not only are we thinking about which piece is best, but which performance is best as well, and who do we want to see go head to head with our other finalists. I think that there's quite a lot going on in this round. We have a good variance of techniques and styles going on. From Ashish, we have this more classical but impressionist fall landscape. From Alberto, this performance piece featuring intentional chaos and tons and tons of color. From Erin, we have this minimalist bird that is very carefully executed. A lot of negative space surrounding the bird. Getting really into this textural component with Alberto. And his stance, lowered stance is so interesting too. Just bringing them even more into the canvas. Looks like we're getting some stylized swirls right now being executed with their thumb. And again, from Erin, Erin has just chosen to really take her time here with this piece. And as our seconds tick down, we can see that Erin isn't stressed at all. There's just a few small tightening moves that she's making. Very careful consideration here. Lots of technique to appreciate in this piece from Erin. We are nearing the end of our round of the first round of Art Battle in Ottawa. These artists have only a few seconds remaining to finish creating their canvases in front of a live audience. Not only are they working in front of us, our online audience here, but they also have a room full of people. The energy is high and votes will be rolling in very soon. So make sure that you get your vote in at artbattle.com/vote, get registered, and choose your favorite artist. Every vote counts. We often hear from our voting manager, Gina, that it can be the difference of a single vote. So make sure that you support these artists by choosing your favorite. These artists have just done a stunning job. And fun to see the different palettes present, even across similar subject matters. So with Patricia and Natalie, we have such different subject matter, but similarities as well. From Natalie, we have the silhouette of the horse. From Patricia, we have the silhouette of the trees, but both executed in a really different way. And different perspectives. So always fun to see the way that pieces kind of end up together.
Brushes down! There you go, ladies and gentlemen, your first round of Art Battle. And in just a moment, we're going to be right back with our wild card draw. Let's get round number 2 underway. All right, so on easel number 1, Kelly M. Robinson. On easel number 2, Mackenzie Allen. And on easel number 3, Isabel Dagger. On easel number 4, Eric Trottier. I'm so sorry, brother. Could you say your own name? Riaz! I asked him, I practiced it, then I got up here and I got all shy about it, and I'm sorry. And your wild card artist of the night, Aaron Big! Alright, so we're going to get going in just a second, so please, once again, try to keep that slow tornado moving. And with your help, from 10, 9,
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
let's paint! Alright, everybody, let's get going.
All right, we have 20 minutes officially on the clock for round number 2 of Art Battle in Ottawa. You guys are in for a treat. This is going to be a really, really strong round. I was checking out our competitors before the event, and I gotta say, there is definitely some talent that is going to be thrown down on the easels tonight. Right now, we're checking out Kelly Robinson, and we can see that Kelly's doing a really careful sketch. Oh, it's actually in paint, but I think that I'm starting to see kind of the outline of a head, so I think that Kelly may potentially be going for a portrait there. We actually haven't seen many straight up portraits tonight yet, so looking forward to that. Mackenzie, who we just skipped over, we'll come back to her, but here we are with Isabel Daigle, and wow, I gotta say that is one of the quickest paint applications in our battle I've ever seen. That is such a huge amount of coverage only in our first minute here from Isabel. Great job, Isabel. We've got this blue gradient going on, darker in the top and definitely getting lighter towards the bottom. And now it looks like Isabel is bringing in some red into the mix as well. And here we are with Eric Trottier, and Eric has an eyeball going on, it looks like. Very dominating in the center of the canvas at this point. And secretly, our camera person is kind of panning over to this balloon on the ground. I wonder if Eric is going to incorporate that into his performance. I wonder if our camera person is secretly communicating this to us here. And here we are with Riaz, and Riaz is, wow, already this drawing of mountains, or painting rather. I'm describing it as a drawing just because it's lighter right now, and this looks like it's more in the planning stages, but really fantastic job from Riaz executing these mountains. Definitely getting a sensation of light and the clarity of this daylight coming through with just the pureness of that blue. I have high hopes for Riaz. I think that that he's an artist that is going to be one to watch in this round for sure. And here we are with our wildcard artist, Ariane. And Ariane shares a last name with Isabel, who's on the other side of our battle arena, just across from her. I'm thinking that they must be related, so that's fun. Some art battle family competition. And here we are rolling over to Kelly Robinson, and looks like we have the start of a portrait with this kind of head shape going on, and then we've got all of this like lemony lime green going on surrounding this figure. So wondering where that's going to be going. Interesting take in terms of composition. I'm not quite sure where it's going yet, if we're going to be going for more of a traditional portrait technique, or with the introduction of this green color here, is it going to be leaning more into maybe an impressionist portrait, something a little bit more contemporary? Only time will tell, and we don't have a lot of it. So we have 15 minutes remaining on the clock. Love it. So we're heading over to Mackenzie Allen, and Mackenzie is a previous art battle champion. She has won in Ottawa. She's painted also in Toronto, in St. Catharines, in Hamilton, and she is a force to be reckoned with. She's a really, really strong painter, known for creating these very expressive textural portraits. So really happy to be seeing Mackenzie at the easel right now, getting this this sense of cool colors kind of colliding into one another, and this beautiful application technique of allowing the drips to kind of form all over the canvas, bleeding into each other, and really giving us that sense of painterly energy that we love to connect to. Checking out Isabel here, and another portrait. And this one is so odd and strange in the best possible way. I think that we're definitely going to get a sensation of surrealness from Isabel's piece. I'm getting clouds from her hair, this like poof of hair on top. It's like a surreal Marie Antoinette. And kind of rising from either the water or the sky, maybe the sky because the hair is giving me cloud vibes. But whatever it is, I'm into it. Really digging it so far. Great start. Back with Eric now, and Eric has this absolutely gigantic palette knife and is really putting it to use, smearing all of these colors that he's laid out already. So that gives me kind of the notion that Eric has a plan of where he wants his colors, and then he dives into that technique. The way that the red and the blue in that top corner is playing together is really nice to me. Definitely getting a lot of energy from this piece. And this piece is kind of providing that textural component that I think is less present in the rest of the pieces in this round. And I think that the crowd is really going to enjoy the use of this tool. Very, very engaging. And back with Riaz here. With the execution of these gorgeous mountains, we can see the sense of light and snow over top of the mountains here, just really giving us a great idea of what it's like to be in this environment. I'm getting like a summer in the mountains kind of vibe here from the quality of the light. Back with our wild card, Ariane here. And not only do we have a figure holding what looks like a baby, but we have a third figure as well. So taking on 3 figures in a single art battle round of only 20 minutes is quite the brave take, and I really appreciate it. I think that's pretty badass. I'm wondering what the story is, what the narrative is with these figures. Is it a mother and a child and a father? Are they robots? We're getting almost like a little bit of a cyborginess right now, or is it just that those are not quite filled in yet? And back with Kelly here. And I'm loving the way this portrait is coming together. We're getting a lot of refinement. So definitely going into more of a classical stance, I think, with this portrait here from Kelly. We can see that she's refining the skin tones, adding in those highlights. I know that that cheekbone pop there is my absolute favorite, and we can see that Kelly is just kind of blending those in now as well. And then we have what looks like reeds, potentially, coming off of the back of this portrait's head. I look forward to seeing how that evolves. I think that there's going to be some elements of whimsy in that more kind of classical portrait. And here we are back with Mackenzie. Totally getting this emotive quality from Mackenzie's portrait. She is just establishing the eyes here, but the tone that she's painted with is really set the emotional quality for this piece. I'm getting like almost like a mournfulness at this point, and I think that we can look forward to some really intense eye contact from this piece as well. And back with Isabel, and we're getting the refinement here of this cloud and bubbles going on for the hair. And this piece is so much fun. This the figure is now also blowing a bubble. I think there's a lot of whimsy present here. We definitely have those surreal vibes going on, and I think the softness of the cloud slash bubble hair is definitely coming through in the way that Isabel has chosen to blend that kind of teal color into the white, and the way that there's a softness in how the highlight and the shadow underneath is working together. Back with Eric here. Very, very textural, very graphic. Lots of textural components here being applied. Always love seeing a palette knife painter at Art Battle. I think that palette knife painting has an inherent bravery in it, because you need to be really comfortable with a certain level of the paint doing what it's going to do. Like, you need to have a plan for it and how you want to apply it, but then there's a little bit of improvisation that happens as you swipe that paint with the knife. Not quite as much control as you would have with a brush, and so it can lead to some really fun spontaneous moments. Heading back over to Riaz here. And the dual components of the competing colors in the sky here is so interesting. And I'm definitely getting the vibe that those are kind of sweeping clouds that are traveling over the sky. And we can see the yellow that's in the sky is also being picked up in the stream that's in the forefront of the painting. And again, more knife work, but we're seeing this knife work that's being applied on the mountain is a totally different technique than what we're seeing Eric using in the eye. So similar in that they're guiding and gliding and scraping this paint, but definitely different kind of attitude between the application techniques. One seeking for that kind of refinement, and the other is kind of celebrating the chaotic slipping and sliding of paint. Back with Ariane here, and we're getting further into the refinement of these pieces. And it's so interesting the way that she has stylized these figures here. It's almost like a blank, like an intentional blankness going on in the figures to kind of create almost an anonymity over their featurelessness, but we're still getting the quality that they have emotion just from the body language. So actually really enjoying that piece for Marianne. And back with Kelly now. And we're just getting this expansion of foliage happening, and the figure is almost emerging from all of these leaves here. The compositional strategy here has been quite minimal as well, in that there's a lot of negative space that is allowing the portrait to kind of breathe, and we can see that Kelly is now bringing in this orb kind of surrounding and framing in the portrait, and I think that's a great way to engage the negative space and kind of expand the composition outward. Back over here with Mackenzie, and we are lucky enough to see Mackenzie going in with her first warm color that we're seeing on the easel for this piece, and the contrast that that red is providing is just doing so much. It's just creating an energetic contrast, and really, really digging that. The way that the red is just playing off of the blue is gorgeous. So we have Isabel leaning even further into the fun components of this piece. We have the bubble now says pop. We have other kind of soap bubbles that are reflecting the environment around. We have kind of a childlike sun going on in the top with its rays radiating outward. And we have this addition of the highlight of yellow kind of tying everything together. This piece is just so much fun, especially with the rainbows in the reflection in the bubbles. I would love to talk to Isabel and see where this idea was born for her. I just think that it is so much fun, and I think that the audience is going to be really engaged with this piece as well. Back over here with Eric, and we can see that Eric is now taking almost this kind of relief approach to the piece, and now that we're seeing that he's actually pulling paint away, so he's finished with or it looks like he's finished with the application of all of this heavy paint and creating all of this texture and blending all of these colors, and is now going in and refining by taking away paint and carving into it to even emphasize that texture even more. So I think that that's a really great way to use all of that texture, is to lean into it and to even just carve away from it. Just brings kind of that sculptural element to the work. Back with Riaz here, and we are in our final 3 minutes. So a great opportunity to remind you guys to make sure that you go to artbattle.com/vote. You will be choosing your favorite artist from this round. And the top 2 artists, as voted by the audience, will be moving forward into a 4-artist final, joining the finalists from round number 1. So not only do I want you to think about who you think is best, whose work speaks to you the most, but also think about whose performance you enjoyed. Which artists did you who kept you guessing? Who were you excited about in their paint application technique? Because you could potentially see them again in the final. And we hear from our voting manager, Gina, all the time that votes can come down to just a single vote between a winning artist. So make sure that, I know it's hard to choose your favorite, but make sure that you cast your vote. And you can do that at that link on the screen. All of the works created are also available for silent auction. So make sure that you head on over to that link and you can bid on any of these pieces if you're falling in love with them as you're seeing them being created. Tons of refinement here from Kelly on this piece. Just a very carefully executed, beautiful piece. The addition of the floral crown is really nice, especially as she's bringing those flowers into the rest of the foliage that's kind of framing the face. Just a really gorgeous, refined piece. And we're kind of peeking at Mackenzie's piece here too. And we can see that Mackenzie has really slowed down in the way that she's painting, and is just now working into those refining characteristics, just tightening up the eye contact and the eyebrows and the features in the face. Mackenzie's approach was kind of to establish all of this energetic painting off the bat, and then to move into these refining moments. Always love seeing Mackenzie work. And we are nearing our countdown. Drawing to a close on a very exciting round of live competitive painting. Our second round of the night in Art Battle Ottawa. And these artists have done just an absolutely stunning job. We have been treated to so many different styles tonight, and so many different ideas, really. There's so many different inspirations hitting the easels tonight. And I have to say that it's a special privilege to kind of be able to see all of these inspirations and ideas coming to life right in front of our eyes. So if any of these pieces have particularly struck home with you, make sure that you vote for that artist at artbattle.com/vote. The top 2 artists from each round, from round number 1 and from this round number 2, will move into a 4-artist final and will paint again. So who do you want to see paint again? Who do you want to go to the final? We would love to hear from you in the comments. Just these final refining techniques from Riaz. And here we are back with Ariane. And the addition of these kind of spatters happening really changes kind of the narrative of this piece. I would love to talk to Ariane and see where the inspiration for this piece came from, and getting into this kind of rosy cheeked territory from Kelly here.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Russia's down! Ladies and gentlemen, round number 2. Artists, please don't forget to sign your work. And everybody should have received another text that voting and bidding for round number 2 is now open.
An absolutely stunning round number 2 for our Art Battle in Ottawa tonight. Really, really fantastic job from all 12 of our artists tonight. And we will very shortly get to see who is moving forward into the final once again. From round number 1, the top 2, and from round 2, the top 2 artists moving forward into a 4-artist final showdown where they will paint again with another 20 minutes on the clock, and 1 artist will emerge the winner of this edition of Art Battle Ottawa. So stay tuned. We will be announcing our finalists in just a few minutes. As the votes roll in, make sure that you cast yours at artbattle.com/vote.
And 2, and we'll be moving on to the 3rd and final round as chosen by you. From round number 1, Maureen! And also moving on to round 1, from round number 2, Mackenzie Allen. And last but certainly not least, moving on from round number 2. Wow, they're excited. I like that. I like it a lot. Isabel. All right, so we'll be right back with round number 3.
Our final 4 artists have been announced. Moving forward from round number 1, we have Maureen McAuliffe and Aaron Bessau. And moving on from round number 2, Mackenzie Allen and Isabel Deigel. So we will be seeing our top 4 finalist artists moving forward into round number 3 in just a few minutes, where they will have another 20 minutes on the clock to go from blank canvas to incredible masterpiece right in front of our audience's eyes, right in front of your eyes. And we will be doing that in just a few minutes. We gotta let our artists reset their palettes and get into the headspace to do it all over again. We will be back in just a few minutes for round number 3. Stay tuned.
Set for round number 3. So we're all set, ready to go. So once again, your artist that's chosen by you on easel number 1, Aaron Bessau. On easel number 2, Maureen McAuliffe. On easel number 3, Mackenzie Allen. And last but certainly not least, on easel number 4, Isabel Deigel. All right, Ottawa, with your help. One last, well, no, second last time. From 10, 9, 8,
All right, we are off for our final round of Art Battle in Ottawa tonight. Our top 4 finalists, Maureen Michaela, Erin Bessau, Mackenzie Allen, and Isabel Daigle. We are super excited to have these guys painting again for tonight. I say it in that way because it's just such a treat to be able to see all of these artists' work, and even more so to be able to see them paint yet again tonight. That's kind of a fun twist of Art Battle, is not only do we get to see these guys reveal their inner process and create live in front of us, but if they make it to the final, we get to see them do it all over again. So here we are with Mackenzie Allen, and Mackenzie has a different orientation for her canvas this time around. It looks like she's got it on its side, which is known as landscape orientation, but I don't think that we're going to see a landscape from Mackenzie. I think that she probably will go with another portrait. At least that's what I'm hoping, being a lover of Mackenzie's portraits. And here we are with Isabel Daigle, and I have truly no idea what Isabel is going to paint. Her last piece was so creative and just so odd and fun in its subject matter. I'm really, really happy that Isabel made it to the final because I absolutely wanted to see her paint again. I wanted to see more of what Isabel's brain is going to come up with in terms of creative output and storytelling. So very, very happy about that. And here we are with Erin Bessau, again, another artist that I was excited to hear made it to the final. And her ability to execute is just so stunning, and off to a great start, looks like, from Erin here as well. We're only 2 minutes in, and she's got this drawing of a floral vase going on, again in that signature blue. And then rounding the easel to Maureen McAuliffe, and Maureen again has so much done on her canvas right off the bat. Similar strategy to her qualifying round, where we saw basically a full coverage in the first 2 minutes. Maureen really knows how to layer, and we're definitely seeing that layering technique already coming out in the first 3 minutes. We've got a similar palette from her qualifying round piece with these kind of cooler colors, heated up and warmed up with reds and purples. Looks like she's establishing her base. And then from Mackenzie Allen here, we're seeing kind of these undulating brush strokes, featuring a lot of water, very washy, getting kind of that signature drippage coming from Mackenzie there. And I'm getting the impression that we're starting to see the portrait in yellow there making its way from the side of the canvas. I think that's a really interesting compositional strategy, to have the portrait situated in basically just 1/3 of the canvas. I think that that's going to lend a lot of visual interest. Lots of red on Mackenzie's canvas as well, so I'm wondering whether or not we're going to see that kind of making its way onto the painting. Right now we've got a very limited palette of this kind of cobalt meets cerulean blue, and of course that primary bright yellow there. Now we can see that she's starting to add in some of that green, just adding in more depth. And similar color palette here for Isabel Daigle, with that predominant blue and then a heavy feature on that primary yellow there. So this is seeming very abstract to me at this point. I don't understand quite yet what it is. But again, that's something that I really enjoy about Isabel's work. We're treated to a lot of whimsy. I think that I'm starting to see a portrait emerging, and potentially in this kind of similar style to her qualifying round piece, where we have this giant hat or hair that is acting as the focal point for the piece, and I really can't wait to see where Isabel brings this. I think that we're in for a really fun ride with her. Starting to see some blues, or sorry, some greens actually making their way onto Erin's palette here. Just touching in with that kind of phthalo green, so still very similar to the blue, but also creating a little bit of subtle contrast, giving us just a touch of variation in these color tones. And I think staying in the same family is really a harmonizing element for Erin. Very delicate brushwork. And again, Erin just seems super chill, really calm. We can tell that she's very comfortable creating. I'm sure that she has a very active studio practice. Sometimes artists can, if you're not super active in your studio, you can feel a little bit rusty. But Erin's hands are moving very quickly and very assuredly. So I'm sure that she is absolutely no stranger to the easel, and she's bringing that kind of contemplative calm to the art battle arena as well, which can be difficult to do in this time setting in front of an audience. That can be kind of nerve-wracking. And Maureen here, again, with more of these layering techniques. We're in a landscape orientation on her canvas as well. And I feel like we're getting a little bit of a play of trees coming forward. This piece is very abstracted at this point, and maybe it's just my brain playing tricks on me, kind of seeking to find form in abstraction, but I do think that we're going to have a forest scene emerging from these colors from Maureen. Some very expressive portraiture again happening from Mackenzie. We're seeing the layering of these warmer colors on top of that yellow tone, giving us depth and establishing the planes of the face. And very rough in the execution so far of the placement of all of these different elements. So it'll be interesting to see how these come together. We learned from Mackenzie in her last piece that was kind of the strategy there, was to go super, super loose, and as the time ticked down to refine those features. And we can see that she's using her brush on the canvas to blend that kind of rubine red, pinky color into the yellow as she's painting it. So there's two kind of ways of color mixing on the canvas and color mixing on the palette, and Mackenzie seems to be employing both strategies in this piece. Back with Isabel here, and the hat / hair is starting to come into its own. It's almost reminding me of those like teardrop or like heart flowers, the little hanging dangling hearts. That's the impression that I'm getting, at least. I'm feeling that it's floral, fairly tropical also, and looks like similar to her character that she painted in her qualifying round. We're getting this kind of bubble gum situation going on as well. So playing up into that theme and definitely creating a companion piece with these similar themes. Background color, very similar as well, but changing it up just enough that it's not a copy, it's a companion piece, and still living in that same style, but also giving us some fresh elements. So Erin is really leaning into the play of light with this piece, I think. We're starting to see just this subtle color variation going on in the leaves of what I'm sure is eucalyptus. And then we're seeing the curvature of this vessel happening here and just getting those beautiful subtle gradients. back over with Maureen. And I think that I am getting my wish and that we are getting some forest going on from this piece. I'm definitely getting some branches and the addition of the black and white playing over top of these heavy color flows is really nice and is kind of helping to bring these trees forward, bringing them to the forefront of a very colorful painting just by use of contrast. So now we're seeing Mackenzie is bringing these blues into the face here and kind of using that as her point of highest contrast and using those blues and greens as her shadow colors. And we're really, by her doing that, we're starting to understand more of the planes of the face, the three-quarter view and kind of catching that shadow underneath the cheekbone. And so kind of moving away from the pure abstraction backgrounds that Mackenzie had going on in the qualifying piece, as we come around on our next pass on the easels, I think that we'll see that she's got kind of a bit of a landscape situation going on in the back. So what is Isabel doing with her border here? So we actually have this frame now happening, which I think is a really cool compositional tool. And now Isabel is kind of wiping it away in certain parts, I think because she wants this figure to kind of be pushing and pulling against the frame. And we can see that Isabel is just rubbing paint all over her pants and using her pants to get all of the excess paint off of her brush, and I love seeing that. It just kind of communicates to us as the audience that the artist is in this kind of place of abandon and that the painting is the priority. The pants don't matter. I know that the audience is really going to respond to that. I think it adds this element of intensity. Back over with Erin here, and Erin taking quite a different approach from what we saw in her qualifying piece that was quite minimal. Erin has a very complete painting going on right now and is not really leaving any negative space. We have a background color, we have a foreground color, and we have our main element of these florals. I am hoping in some ways, though, that she leaves some negative space around the eucalyptus and just allows it to breathe a little bit. Because I know that with 5 minutes only on the clock, that would be a lot of specific brushwork to kind of make sure that she gets around each little nook and cranny of that. That's definitely a difficult execution. So tons and tons of texture here from Maureen. Getting a really great sense of directionality from the way that she's laid these colors down. Everything is in an up and down stroke, and it's really helping to kind of guide your eyes up into the branches of these trees. And we can really see just all of the texture going on for Maureen here. With the show lights kind of skimming over the texture of the canvas, we can really get an understanding of just how much paint is on that canvas. And this piece from Mackenzie, we can see that she's got kind of this abstracted landscape background going on in the other 2/3 of the canvas, and looks like our figure is almost looking over a shoulder. Fun to see Mackenzie's character existing in an environment. And to see how her brushwork is kind of interpreted through that landscape lens. She's using these larger strokes to kind of communicate hills and still very, very expressive. Oh, I thought she was gonna pick up the canvas and use it for drips. So 3.5 minutes remaining now on the timer of our final round of Art Battle in Ottawa. Only one artist will be crowned the winner tonight. So make sure that you go to artbattle.com/vote and choose your favorite artist. We often are hearing from our wonderful voting manager, Gina, that it truly can make a difference. One single vote can be the difference between an artist winning or not winning. So I know that it's a difficult choice. I know that sometimes if you're having trouble choosing, you'd rather not choose at all, but you got it in Art Battle. It really matters because the winning artist from tonight will be moving forward to the Ottawa City Championship, and the winner of the Ottawa City Championship will be moving forward into the National Canadian Championship. So very exciting, high stakes here tonight. One artist will be crowned the winner. Wow, phenomenal job from Erin. Looks like she was able to round all of those corners, and actually the way that there's a slight kind of glow of white around each of the leaves of eucalyptus, it really helps it to just stand on its own and to be moving forward. You really get a sense of how it kind of takes up space, and just a really beautiful job from Erin here. 2 minutes remaining. I also want to take the opportunity to remind you that all of the works created tonight are available for silent auction. You don't need to be in the room to purchase any of these works. You can bid on them at the link in your screen and we will ship them to you. I know that I have my eye on both of Erin's pieces actually tonight. I think that they're just totally stunning, very well executed. And we've had also quite a few surprises from Erin, I think, in particular in this round. So that's always what you want to do as an Art Battle finalist. You want to be staying in your style, but also doing great work that is still you, but provides some surprises to the audience. And I think that all 4 of our finalists have really done that tonight. We have Maureen with a totally different subject matter than what she did in her qualifying round piece. It's that piece had portraiture elements. This one is all trees, but it's still very recognizable as being Maureen because of the application technique. Same with Mackenzie here. We have a totally different composition. We have the added element of that landscape there. And of course the classic kind of emotive quality that we expect from Mackenzie's characters. Kind of wistfully staring into the crowd here. And just getting our refining strokes here from Mackenzie. As we count down our final seconds. Huge congratulations to all of our artists tonight. Really fantastic showing overall from all 12 of these spectacular painters here. It takes a huge amount of creativity and courage to step up to the easel at Art Battle. Not gonna lie, especially in Art Battle Ottawa. Ottawa is an Art Battle stronghold with a really strong artist community with a lot of really talented artists. So it kind of takes a little bit of extra bravery to step up to the Art Battle Ottawa easel. Just a great job from Isabel here. The whimsy that she's brought to this piece, the fun, the playfulness, and also just the execution quality too is really nice. the addition of this kind of framework and having the elements pushing against it is a really cool compositional element for Isabel, and I think that people are going to relate to that, and they're going to see it as a really interesting element that adds a lot of depth and character to the piece.